Hello and welcome to this video where today is a little bit of a sad day because it is my last day here in Scotland before heading home and the last day of my winter wildlife tour. So today we are going to be seeing the red deer, which I am very much looking forward to. I love red deer and there are quite a lot of stags in this group that we are going to see. I think from what Karen said, actually they're mostly stags and then there are a few hinds. So yes, very much looking forward to that. Lens wise, it's mostly going to be the 200 to 600 from what Karen said. You're on a track and you can't go off the track, and the deers are then off in the wood. So I'm going to finish getting myself ready so we can head out and see the stags, and I shall see you when we get there. Now before we go to see the deer, we're actually off for round 2 of the Crested Tits, and today hopefully we will get lucky. With the camera ready, it was on to waiting and hoping that a cresty would turn up. We did have a visit from a cold tit, but so far it was quite quiet. The rain then came in, so it was time to don an extra, more waterproof layer. It was then back to waiting and some more waiting. Eventually we had our cresty come in for its first visit.
Thank God for that. Right, let's see if we can find the feeder. Doesn't really matter if it can, we just want it to sit vertically square near the feeder where you can.
The cresty was quite hard to follow with the camera as it was hopping from branch to branch with quite a lot more speed than I had anticipated.
Nice. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I told you they're not easy birds. They're quite fun though.
So we have had the Crested Tit come in once so far this morning, which has been great to see. It is incredibly hard to photograph. Like, it is just not staying still at all. It's just bouncing around branch to branch. But I did manage, I think, to get a couple of images, which I'm quite happy with. So that's good. We have got our Crested Tit photo, which is ideal. So Karen's just gone off. She's got another feeder in this area that she's going to go and have a look at to see if anything's feeding on that, or if not, bring it over and put it up at this site as well. So it's such a shame that she's lost her cresties at her other site this year, because from the sounds of it, it was a really nice setup and the cresties were quite well trained. This one, because it's still quite a new site, the cresties are still getting used to but the feeder moving mostly. Apparently this one's having quite a lot of trouble with where the feeder is and where it was. So she's having it like tucked up behind a tree and then moving it out for when we're here taking the photos, and it's taking a long time. It's not just that though, all the other birds that we've seen go into it are getting a bit confused as to having the feeder moved from where it was. I mean, it's like a foot from where it was, it's not far, but they're not the brightest bunch of birds, unfortunately, at the moment. They still need some training, but it was really good to see that cresty. Hopefully it will come back in again soon and I'll be able to get some more photos. After its initial visit, we were back to waiting. With no activity at the other feeder, Karen brought it back and hung it up here in the hopes that maybe this one will be more attractive to our cresty.
She's waiting for the rain to come in, that's all.
After almost an hour after its first visit, the cresty finally came back down to the feeder, and I was able to capture some more images, again of it on this lower branch.
Caught it. Oh, you hang on, it's behind us. Look, turn around. This is much better.
Oh, that is. How did you find that one?
Well done, Cresty. Okay, you've just gone up in my estimation. Yeah, that's nice. Well done.
With the cresty now on the more photographic feeder, I had to work fast to get some images. It was very much hopping around between the tree, branches and the feeder, not spending much time in one position.
Oh my goodness. Did you get anything there?
Yeah. With some more images in the bag, I attempted to get a bit of video now that the cresty was focused on the feeder. And just like that, within 10 minutes, the Cresty had once again moved on. I am really happy with the images that I got here, especially of the one of it on the branch before it hopped onto the feeder, as well as the one of it in the tree, as it shows it in its more natural environment. We waited for another half an hour or so, and while the Cresty did come back, it stayed high up in the branches. I did get some rather excellent images, if I do say so, of a blue tit, but it was now time to move on as we had an appointment with some deer. We arrived to our next site and met up with the gamekeeper Graham. On this estate they feed the deer once a day over winter while their natural food is more scarce. A short trip in the truck with one of the doggos later and we were ready to go. At this setup I was to stay on the track and take my photos from there, with the deer currently high up right on the top of the slope. With the deer being quite high up and really quite bunched together, it was a bit of a struggle to find some compositions where I could isolate just one of them.
So lens-wise, 200 to 600 at 6.3, and then I'm currently at 1/800th of a second and about 4000 ISO, and then I'm just going to change it depending on lighting conditions.
I made sure to get a variety of vertical and horizontal shots.
No, I haven't actually got my microphone with me, so I apologise if this audio doesn't sound right, but I've gone suddenly all very self-conscious and I don't know why. So it's just Karen, myself, and then I forgot the name of the guy that's taken us up here. And I'm the only one photographing, and I feel really weird about it, and I don't know why. The deers are nice, but they're quite far off. Apparently, this is quite unusual for them. They're usually quite confident, so they're thinking that maybe someone walked up and sort of upset them a bit. Because apparently they do get quite miffed if their routine does get knocked, and so they're all really quite standoffish at the minute, so I'm hoping they might relax a bit. I have got some quite nice photos, but I'm just finding this whole situation quite bizarre and I don't know why. So hopefully I will relax a bit soon as well, and I'll be able to get into the swing of things.
I did eventually relax a bit and I was able to get into the swing of taking images, and I think I got some really nice ones. We even had a visit from a Sitka deer called Brian, who has just the one antler.
Another thing I found out about myself is that if my camera is on silent mode, although that does has its issues in terms of a moving subject, with the rolling shutter with the A7 IV, it does mean I take more pictures because I'm not so conscious of the shutter sound, just because I think that's what puts me off, which is quite a revelation to me. I didn't know I was self-conscious about my shutter sound, but I am. So that's one of the things I know. The A7 V has just come out, and I feel like that camera is going to be the ideal camera for me. I know gear acquisition isn't going to make me a better photographer. However, I do feel that camera solves a lot of the issues, pretty much all of the issues I have with this one. So I will be trying to get that at some point this year. They are coming in a bit closer now, and I'm feeling a bit more comfortable about the whole thing, relaxing into it. So I think I'm getting some nice shots here. I'm trying to, like I said earlier, isolate them so it's just sort of one on its own. So hopefully I'm doing a good enough job of that. And I'm trying to remember to do vertical as well as horizontal, because cameras turn both ways apparently.
When this deer came down onto the track, I got down as low as I could and waited for it to move into a gap between the trees to try and get some more separation between it and the background. With the photos done, it was now time for the deers to come down and get their food.
Yeah, they were awfully far away today.
So this morning we got to have a second attempt photographing the Crested Tits at Karen's new site. So it was just brilliant to be able to get back there and photograph the Crested Tit and get the images that I was hoping for. It was nice to see it the first time, but to be able to come away with the photo that I was hoping to get of it is just brilliant. Now we've also been out to see the deer, and while I did get off to a bit of a rocky start, I did eventually settle into it and start taking photos, and I feel I did get some nice ones out of that. Now I'm not too sure what came over me there. It was just sort of my own self-conscious holding me back and feeling I was being watched and judged, but I was not in any way. It was just strange for me to be in that situation. For whatever reason, yeah, feelings came up that I should probably start to focus on and start working through. But I did, like I said, once I got into swing of it, I feel like I did settle into it, and I do feel like I got some nice photos out of it. And at the end, it was nice to see the deer come down and get fed. Now, while those deers are getting fed at the moment, they are wild deers. It was a working estate that we were photographing them from, where they feed them over winter just to help them with their food sources during the winter and the colder months when that gets low. And then in the spring, sort of towards the end of March, when their own food sources start to spring back up again, the deers will disappear off and they will stop getting fed until the next winter. And so that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this little adventure, and I shall see you in the next video.